Okay, this is page 2 of Unit 4 on Europe, and we'll be talking about a variety of different things here on this one. Here's the picture I mentioned. I had one. So when they had one of these dikes break and the water rushed in, much of the country was buried. You can see the statue here and the church in the background. So there's the statue, there's the church. This building, I'm guessing, is one of these. Anyway, I also am guessing that these pictures were taken quite a few years apart, but again, it is the same location. So you can see, you know, maybe 8, 10, 12 feet of water. So the dikes are earthen banks holding back the North Sea. So you can see here is one of the dikes. You look on this side, it runs down to the water, but as you go down the other side, it's a little bit farther down to the land, to the farm ground. And so the water level is higher. There's an old 16mm film I used to show in my geography classes, and it shows a man out in a field working, and then behind him is a ship going by. And the ship is up higher than where he is standing. And that's what's shown in this picture here. Okay, major crops include citrus fruits, olives, grapes, and wheat. Especially olives, they can be found in Greece, Italy, Spain, specifically the southern part of Europe that borders the Mediterranean. Tourism is a major industry in the region. Europe has a large history, goes back many years, great places to visit, a lot of character, very important historical buildings. So tourism is a big industry for Europe. Environmental concerns include deforestation, which we've talked about, acid rain or snow, water pollution. Some of these, again, being problems with a lot of countries that have to worry about these major concerns. The nations in Europe especially, because the nations aren't that big compared to the United States or China or Canada, Russia, for example. So these nations must work together to help with the pollution and the problems that they might face through some of these issues. So a mild climate has made survival easier than in some other areas. So that North Atlantic drift we talked about. The Mediterranean Sea encouraged overseas trade. The Mediterranean Sea, a border between Africa and Europe, and the Eastern Mediterranean connecting with Southwest Asia. And so a lot of goods and ideas could be traded and moved back and forth between these areas. So a couple of history things that I want to mention. A city-state is a political unit based on a city and the surrounding land. I think ancient Greece is the most famous for having the city-states. So because of their rugged terrain, the way it was built, these cities that developed, they really didn't have a lot of contact with other cities. And so as a result, they developed independent of each other. So even though they're a city, they're like a nation, like a state. So a republic is a government in which citizens elect representatives for them, called representative democracy. Crusades, series of wars to take Palestine from the Muslims. I believe there was 4 or 5 different crusades. The one I can't imagine or understand is one that was a children's crusade. But they did try to go to that area, the Middle East, basically, and fight for Christianity and try to regain in that area for Christians. Renaissance, a time of renewed interest in learning and the arts. Just a great emphasis on learning, and amazing how so many great artists lived at that same time. Benelux nations are Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. And so you can see they've taken just the first few couple and 3 letters there. These countries are fairly small, located between France and Germany, and so that's where you get the Benelux nations. They're so small, sometimes they're grouped together in discussion. Nationalism, loyalty, and devotion to one's own nation. That's why I put an American flag in this slide. So nationalism or patriotism. TGV, this is one of the world's fastest passenger trains, found in France. Japan has bullet trains, other places throughout the world are starting to get these. This one, 574.8 kilometers an hour, equivalent to 357 miles an hour. I believe there are some now that are approaching 400 miles an hour. So, rapid means of transportation. Talking about Switzerland, they specialize in the service industry of banking, and a lot of times you'll watch a movie or a TV show, and they might reference a Swiss bank account. And then I ask the students, why is Switzerland so important? Why do people want to have a bank account there? Why is it so important? Why is it so prestigious? And then I ask, what do you want a bank to be? And of course the answer is safe. You want it to be protected. And so the reason that Switzerland is safe and a good place to put your money is that they are neutral. For over 200 years, they have not been involved in any war. They don't have any enemies. They're not picking sides. They're staying out of everybody's business, and as a result, nobody attacks or bothers Switzerland. They just mind their own business, and it's really worked for them, and is probably a good way to do it. Okay, Europe ranks 6th in size of all of the continents, so it is the 2nd smallest continent. 2nd in population, over 530 million people, and then Germany is the highest of the countries there with over 82 million. This was an interesting picture here. It keeps changing. These are the 7 continents we're familiar with usually. This one puts Eurasia or Europe and Asia together, Americas together. Anyway, kind of interesting to watch that change. Scandinavia is the name for Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland collectively. So those 5 nations together make up Scandinavia, and they're also known as Nordic countries or North countries. Kind of interesting to see this symbol here. Each of their flags are very similar. They've all got a cross, and they use 3 colors: white, lighter blue, and the burgundy. And then of course it's this area right here. Norway, Sweden, Finland, there's Denmark above Germany, and then Iceland. And that is our 2nd page of notes. This is one of my favorite castles. Not sure if I'm going to say this correctly, but something like Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. So there's page 2. Thank you.